Welcome to Metaphysical Life Support, a place to learn about the subtle and profound facts of metaphysics in our life. This show is about exploration tools and the people who live in awareness, supporting and inspiring us to live with and from our source, empowering ourselves to manifest consciously, encouraging us to have compassion and a sense of humor about being human. Our guest today is Rosie Potestio, and we are jumping right back into the hot topic of forgiveness, because you have wrestled me on this one for a long time. I was brought up with forgiveness being punitive, and I want you to go ahead and tell us more about forgiveness, because it's really important, I think, that people hear that forgiveness isn't about what we think it's about.
Yes. So many people think that forgiveness is saying, oh, that's okay what you've done. That's okay. But I'm going to read you my definition again, because I like this. Forgiveness is the conscious, deliberate decision to release feelings of resentment, anger, or vengeance towards someone or something who has harmed you, regardless of whether or not they deserve it. It is not forgetting. It is not condoning. It is not excusing. It is simply choosing to let it go. The conscious decision, it's a decision of, I'm not going to carry this anymore.
So it's not letting someone off the hook.
You got it. They still have their own things they need to do.
And it's not saying, I'm going to take the high road and forgive you, but God's going to get you.
However, there might be a lot of truth to that.
My solution in this understanding of forgiveness is to allow God and that person to have their own relationship.
Exactly.
And as the Bible and Jesus tells us, justice is God's, not mine.
Right. Exactly.
And so tell us more. Give us an example of forgiveness.
Okay, so when I feel anger, it anchors me in that pain. And when I get to a point where I don't want to be anchored in that pain anymore, when I want to feel happy, when I want to feel joyful, then what do? And I wish we had a different word for forgiveness, but it's what we have. So by realizing that it is a conscious choice. I made mention earlier that I had Meniere's disease, and there was a conscious choice in there to forgive, to put it down, to let it go. Why I got it, why it stayed, why it left, why any of those things. You know what? Today, I have life, and I'm going to live it.
So we have this balance between spiritual bypass. By the way, spiritual bypass means using a principle like forgiveness as an excuse to not do the other aspects of your work. It's that simple. So you're doing your work. You're exploring, how have I created this? What did I do? Why is this happening? What can I learn? What I'm hearing, my interpretation is, it got to a point where you learned what you could learn in that moment and you were starting to beat yourself up.
Yes, and maybe there's nothing to learn. What I'm saying is, we don't need to go there. I think that was my process with the disease, because I needed to go through that. But I'm not saying that you have to pick apart that situation and figure out and ascertain exactly who did what and what went wrong and what did I do and what did he do and what did they do, and my God, the minutia will just anchor you in the pain.
I can relate to what you're saying. Like many people, I was molested, and it took me well into my 30s to forgive my father. And I want to say I wasted
No.
but that's also a weird judgment.
Nothing's wasted because it gets you where you are.
I was entrenched
Yes.
in anger at myself for all the complexities of what molestation brings. I was angry at him. I was angry at my mother. Like, I was just angry because I didn't know what to do with it. And I remember I had banker boxes of journals that I had tried to process this. And you say sometimes there's nothing to learn. And
yeah.
And the truth is that if I look at all of those boxes, the thing there was to learn was that I had to forgive him.
So I'm not saying that we don't feel pain, we don't feel anger, and we're not supposed to be angry and that. No, there's a reason for anger and for pain and for sadness. There's a reason, and it's okay. But there will come a point in time where we wake up one morning and say, you know what? I don't want to live here anymore. I don't want to live here anymore. Now what do I do?
By here you mean in the pain?
In the pain.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't mean committing suicide. That's not what I mean at all. I mean, I don't want to live in this pain. I don't want to be anchored in this morass of pain.
Okay. So here's like the thing that just clicked is, so you're saying all of us have this bag of stuff that hurts.
Mm-hmm.
And two of the tools that you use as a spiritual director are gratitude and forgiveness.
Correct.
Because in forgiveness, you say, I'm not going to cling to this stuff anymore,
Mm-hmm.
so that you can rise into a different consciousness.
Yeah.
Because the truth is that while I was holding on to that anger toward my father and mother and everybody else, I was stuck.
Yes.
They weren't hurt.
No.
There was no retribution. There was nothing I did. I did not create retribution.
It doesn't sound fair, does it?
No. No matter how much I suffered, they were not suffering equally.
Right.
They were going on doing whatever they were doing. My mom got remarried. My dad did blah, 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 blah.
Right.
They didn't even notice that I was standing there in the middle of my life with both fists clenched, holding the snakes that were biting me.
Exactly. Just buried in that.
And all of those journals, on the day that I finally took all three of those journals into my backyard and I made a bonfire. And I was done processing that because there was nothing else to process.
Right.
And the thought that comes into my head is that I was holding the snake that was biting me.
Mm-hmm.
And all I had to do was throw it down.
There's a saying that says, vengeance is like drinking poison and wondering why your enemy doesn't die.
Right. That's true.
Yeah.
And so forgiveness at its essence is saying, I, personally, me, and this boundary and this being, I will no longer carry this pain.
Right.
That is what you are defining as forgiveness.
Correct. Then the question is, okay, now how do I get there? And
that's why you need a coach, a spiritual director, somebody to help you, and maybe a team.
Yes, exactly. That's when we need some help. When we're in that trauma, but we're ready to start moving through it, then you search for that counselor or friend or whatever that can help you through it. Not a friend, okay?
Thank you.
Not a friend that sits down and says, oh, you poor dear, isn't that terrible?
Or that gives you a glass of wine and says, get over it.
Yeah.
Although there's a place in our lives for that.
Right.
But that's not really, that's another kind of bypass rather than actually dealing with it.
But someone who can help you work through it and see it, because here's what it is. It is a widening of our perspective. We start seeing things in their totality because in that morass of the pain and the trauma, we only see this little teeny tiny bit. I was hurt and they hurt me. Now we're starting to see, with the help of someone who can help us, we are starting to see a bigger picture.
Which, I have to say, is one of the places where my son was little. one of the places where having gratitude and being sick and tired of being angry and wanting to enjoy my time with him,
Yeah.
that was one of the key factors where I can honestly say gratitude. That was probably one of the first time when gratitude and love were finally more powerful than my desire to make my parents pay for what they did.
Exactly. Exactly. I call them the twin graces of gratitude and forgiveness, because they do. They go together.
I love that.
Yeah.
Rosie, we have to wrap up this
No,
particular
not already.
visit. But will you come back another day?
Absolutely.
It has been delightful, and thank you for visiting with us today.
It's been a pleasure.
And I want to always thank Jen, because without her, this couldn't happen. So thank you, Rosie, for joining us today. I would like you, the audience, to remember to like, share, and comment so we can bring you more awesome people and metaphysical ideas for living well. I'm Naomi Eklund, and I want to thank you for joining us on Metaphysical Life Support. Our purpose in the show is to provide thoughtful and practical ways to explore the metaphysical reality of our lives, to see where life starts in our most powerful journey toward manifesting the strength of our soul on this earth.